Didn't we have a base construction game in space last week? Yes, we did. Isn't this gonna be boring? No, it's not. Well, what's so good about this game then? That's what I'm about to tell you. Today on Ian Gaming, RimWorld, a sci-fi Wild West hybrid by Ludeon Studios. Okay, so if you haven't noticed by now, I'm kinda into space, like a lot. And I am also really into construction stuff. So that's what today's video is also gonna be about. And just as a disclaimer, RimWorld is currently in a very early stage of its alpha, and it's always subject to change, so anything you're gonna see in this video or in any future videos that I upload towards RimWorld may or may not be current anymore. So always keep an eye on that. There is going to be a Let's Play, I can say that much for sure, and more info is gonna follow towards the end of this video. Also, this video is not gonna be much of an analysis, because like I said, this is a very early alpha, the game is not yet done, so it's not gonna be any good to do an analyzation like I did on Rimmed Capsule last week. All the music you hear during the video is made by an incredibly talented artist from Lithuania called Stellardrone. Links to his channel, or rather to his music stream, are in the description. Go check him out. All of his albums are free, and you can use them in your YouTube videos. You can download them for free. You can also pay what you want for them, and I highly recommend doing so because he's a really cool guy and his music is just amazing. So yeah, check him out. And also, sorry for my voice cracking from time to time during the recording of the actual gameplay. I caught a bit of a cold, so yeah, might happen once or twice. And we're gonna go right into the gameplay now, and I'm gonna see you guys in a bit. Okay, so we're actually in game now, and well, this is the main menu of RimWorld. Nothing too fancy as of now. One thing important to note is we're playing at version 3.3.4 now, so basically anytime you see content, always look what version it is, because they add huge portions of the game progressively, and each update is a huge addition, so far at least. And yeah, here on the right you basically have all the links you need if you want any kind of content related to RimWorld and the developers. And yeah, we're just gonna go through the options menu really quick, nothing fancy, just set your graphics quality. You can enable adaptive training, which is a mechanic I'm gonna explain in a second. And if you have any specific game characters that you found during playthroughs, you can enter the names of them here, so that they will make a reappearance. So for example, if you're an actual backer of the project, or if you contributed in any kind and you have a specific name in the game, you can enter it here and you will get that person sometime during your playthrough. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get started. Okay, here's the first feature of RimWorld that kind of sets it off the genre track, so to say. It's the Storytellers. Basically, how the developers put it is that the best part about simulation games like Dwarf Fortress or The Sims is the stories that you get out of it, like random encounters, random situations that form like beautiful little anecdotes. And the story developers are here to enhance that experience, to actually lead into these kind of events without putting a blueprint on it, so to say, without actually forcing you into a certain storyline. And yeah, so each of the storytellers has a personality, and that personality will kind of decide how your playthrough is gonna go, even though it's still up to your reactions in the end, how it's gonna happen. So the first one that is selected is Chill Kelly, yeah, and she's basically good for startups. She's a bit less aggressive, she gives you some time to get used to the game, and yeah, then her her sister, I think. Yeah, I think it's her sister. Yeah, she is just that's the standard experience. That's the way the developers intended the game to be. That's how it's gonna feel like. Then we have a storyteller here, Phobe, who is for kind of the more peaceful players, or the players who like to experiment with base design or stuff like that, so there won't be any actual violence involved during your playthrough. Randy Random is, like the name says, the guy who generates anything based on chance, and so that won't be a balanced experience, but it can be quite challenging, let's put it like that, if you get attacked by pirates even though you just landed, for example. Yeah, and Cleopatra, I think she got just added. She's like a tougher version of the standard experience. So yeah, we're just gonna go with the startup AI for now. Okay, now we get to our characters. Basically, each character will have a unique background, or well, kind of unique, and they will have had a job before they like signed up for colonizing other planets, which may or may not be actually useful for doing so. So if we look into this, Melly, her name is, she was a bartender, so an incredibly useful job when actually living on the frontier and, you know, having to defend yourself. Now she has, okay, from her backstory, she was a scout when she was younger, so she actually has some experience in shooting and crafting and construction. So that's actually pretty useful. And as a bartender, she got experience with cooking, melee, and social. So that's kind of useful. She's incapable of intellectual acts and artistic stuff. Okay, so basically she won't do research and she won't do any arts related stuff. Now the traits are like fun story bits for now, as this message says. They don't actually have an effect on your characters yet. It's gonna have an effect in the future. And yeah, basically the skills are exactly what they point out to be. Like construction workers finish construction faster, and people who are good at mining mine faster. People who are good at shooting will hit more often, and stuff like that. The only things that don't actually have any function so far is medicine, artistic, and crafting, but they will in the future, of course. That's why they're in here. They will have an impact on your performances. So yeah, our second traveler is Azura, who is a herbalist. So she's good at growing stuff, and she worked as a tunneler. Okay, so she's not gonna do any research either, but she's really good at growing and mining. Not so much at construction. Okay, and the last one is a bartender, and he's not good at research either, so we're gonna click the randomize button to get a new guy. And as it happens to be, that's a space technician who is kinda good at the stuff we lack. So yeah, I don't want to get too deep into this. We can have a further look at this in my Let's Play. Okay, now basically you can make your map bigger if you want to, but like I said, this is a very early alpha build, and this might lead to performance decreases because the game is not optimized to handle bigger amounts of space, and not recommended for weaker systems. And just for the sake of this short look, I'm not gonna mess around with that. So yeah. So basically, your crew awakes, get to the escape pods, and they're gonna drop out of the sky right now. There they are. Okay, and this is basically where you take over. You can always pause your game or speed up the process using these controls, and I'm not gonna go too much into detail of the actual progression that you're gonna do. I'm just gonna go through the menus really quickly and explain what the game in general is going to be about, because we can take a further look in my Let's Play. This is just going to be a quick spoiler. Oh, yeah. Okay, so overview. To people who actually played Dwarf Fortress or any game related to that, know about priority tables. For those who don't, this is basically assigning who is good at doing what and actually ordering them to do the stuff that they're good at. So for example, if we look here, we have our technician. So he is not aptitude, his aptitude is 0, so he's not gonna be a good cook. So we can take this task out of his line so he can focus on more urgent stuff. So he's really good at constructing stuff and at repairing stuff. So we should make this his priorities and take him out of the growing and mining sector so he can actually focus on those 2 tasks. Our barkeeper is not really good for anything related to physical work, so we can take that out. And our herbalist is good at growing and mining, so we can take that in. And, well, we don't really need anyone doing that. So yeah, this is just a basic setup. I'm not gonna explain my thoughts behind it too much. Just a bit. Okay. Another thing you can do if you're like really into getting priorities straight, you can also use the manual priority system, which you can where you can assign numbers, priority numbers to each task. So you can actually go pretty deep into detail if you want to make sure that your base is optimally running and has a high efficiency. So yeah, you got that. Then the research tab is just what it seems to be. You can research upgrades here, get new stuff. For example, if you research this thing, you can get like indoor growing laboratories, so you don't have to put your stuff outside in danger of, I don't know, being eaten by animals or getting attacked by pirates. And yeah, so here's to that. Then I'm not gonna click on the wiki button because this actually opens your browser, and anything related to in-game items, strategies, any kind of help you're gonna find in the wiki. It's, even in this early alpha version, pretty far ahead. Menu button does exactly what a menu button is supposed to do. And the really interesting part is actually down here. So, again, if you have played games like this, you will probably know how this works. You don't actually control your characters directly, similar to Rimmed Capsule. You can order different things to be done, and the characters themselves will decide whether they want to do this job right now or whether they don't, based on their table, which I covered here. So basically, if I'm gonna say mine out this cluster of iron, Mel and Weetles aren't gonna touch it. Just Azura is going to go straight for it because she has a very high mining skill. So we can actually test this right now. I'm just gonna put it in here, let it run, and Azura is gonna see that there's stuff to do, and she's gonna go for it. Yeah. So yeah, same thing goes for anything else. Deconstruct is, if you have constructed something that was built out of actual materials, you get returned, you get a small return rate of what you put into it. Harvest plants is what it sounds like. You harvest plants for their food and the plants are gonna stay, and cut plants is gonna harvest the food and remove the plant. So if you wanna build outside and there's something in the way, you can remove it with that. Haul things is basically for designating something lies around and you don't want it to be there. Then you can say haul that stuff to somewhere else. Now, in order to actually make things accessible, like if they're marked with a small X, that means that item is forbidden from interaction, so it will stay there no matter what. You can press F or click this little button, and it's going to be at, oh yeah, it's going to tell your colonists that they are free to use this item. For example, now they will start carrying the items to the stockpile, while before they were forbidden to touch them. Okay, next thing is zones. So basically these zones here are stockpiles, in which are not physical objects, they're just like thought of places where people are gonna put stuff into. So a dumping stockpile will be where all the trash basically goes, like everything that doesn't have a real use, like, I don't know, rubble, dead bodies, stuff like that is going to go in the dumping stockpile. And the stockpile is very interesting. They added this new feature with this version. When you make a stockpile, you can not only rename it, but you can change different all the stuff that's going to get stored. So imagine if you have a kitchen in your base and you want the food right next to the kitchen, which of course is faster if you actually produce something, then you can, for example, if this was our stockpile for food, you can disable everything that is not food. And so now only meals and raw food-related items will be stored in this stockpile, and it's not gonna get crumped up with like stuff like iron or so. So they will actually remove this again. Okay, so here's the zones. Oh yeah, one more thing, the home zone. Basically, this is what your settlers will recognize as their own. So they're gonna protect, they're gonna clean, they're gonna extinguish fires within this zone. So basically, if you put a lot of outside space in your home zone, and for example, I don't know, lightning strikes around this area and this little square gets ignited, then your colonists will actually run and extinguish the fire, or try to extinguish the fire, because they think that their territory is under attack. So you don't want to go too crazy on this. Now, structures are kind of, structural things, basically. Walls, sandbags, floor, parts, cables, anything related to this. And your buildings tab is basically where you put together utility stuff for your base. So if you need energy, you're gonna either want to build solar generators, which are just like normal solar arrays that produce energy during day, or during, let's say, as long as light hits them. And I'm looking around for a spot, and I think I saw the spot down here. Okay, there it is. And if you find one of these, the steam guys here, you can actually build a geothermal generator on top of it, which is not gonna work now because it's in this spot where the two fields up here block it from being actually built. So in order to use this spot, we would have to remove like these two blocks, or even the whole row of blocks up here. So you can use that, and that will produce you an infinite amount of energy, but only at a certain level. So if your base grows and you need more energy at the same time, it's not gonna supply you fully. Yeah. Other things like the comm console are for communicating with passing ships. So if you want to trade, you need that. And yeah, so basically here's to that. Now, what the current goal of the colony is, of RimWorld is, because like I said, it's very early alpha, there's a lot of stuff to come, and right now it's basically surviving in a comfortable and a very safe way, so to say. So basically it's all about building your base effectively, building your base safe, because the AI isn't stupid in this game. There is a very sophisticated tactics engine behind this for this type of game. So there is a cover system which includes leaning around corners, which includes getting behind low cover. So for example, these rubble piles here, or rock debris, what it's called, like, these provide cover. So if there's an enemy approaching and your base has like a line of rubble like here, the enemy will try to take cover behind here and shoot you from here, because they have an advantage, a tactical advantage, because they can't be hit as easily once they are behind this cover. And for example, if you have this rock formation here, someone could go over here and could shoot around the corner, and that would give him a huge advantage towards anybody who is out in the open. So you want to build your bases with a little bit of intellect, so you can actually survive for long enough to be worth it. So basically there are algorithms for the hit chances that get calculated based on like distance, the weapon skill, the weapon actually used, and I think even stuff like lightning is put into account. So if it's dark, you're gonna have a lower hit chance than when it's daylight. And yeah, the AI also like analyzes the area and will try different approaches. Like they actually know maneuvers like flanking. Like if you wall off this area and you expect that they might approach from here, and you don't wall off this area, it might well happen that they I don't know, go around and will try to enter from here. So they really know what they're doing. And yeah, this really kind of puts an emphasis on building your base safe, building your base intelligently. So most of the time, the best thing to do is just build into a mountain, because that's easily defendable at the entrance, and just put the necessary stuff outside. So yeah, if we have a look at our colonists themselves, they have a also pretty sophisticated psychology system. So they react to all kinds of influences from outside. It's not only whether they're hungry or whether they're sleepy, which is also an important part of their happiness, but they also react to stuff like how their environment is done. Like, is it really dirty? Does it have, I don't know, like carpets or something fancy? Does it even have dead bodies lying around? That's gonna make them really uncomfortable. And these are all aspects that add towards their loyalty and their happiness. So basically, if you don't care, or if you don't spend much effort on keeping your people safe and giving them a good feeling living in your colony, they're gonna eventually have a mental breakdown, which can result in them killing other colonists, or which can result in them just straight off leaving the colony. But most of them will just take a walk for a while if it's the first time. So yeah, psychology is a pretty big part and a really fun part, because it adds another layer of like deepness. Okay, now you're probably asking yourself, well, only 3 settlers are not gonna do much for now, and they won't. As soon as the base grows, people like immigrants are gonna come, pirates will attack, which you can capture and, well, not really brainwash, but kind of brainwash. You can tell them that your side is good and come to us and live in happiness. Persuade, let's call it persuade. So yeah, and that's also a pretty cool part. So I think I have covered basically what this game is going to be about. Like I said, I'm not going to go into detail and advance the gameplay any further. Just a quick look into how the game actually works. Okay, now, being the good editor as I am, I told you that I would explain the adaptive teaching system, which I then proceeded to not do. So basically what happens is the game will analyze whether you understand or you don't understand certain parts of the game, and it will update you or teach you stuff that you don't know or that you don't use effectively, and will keep its mouth shut towards things that you obviously already know. And yeah, basically just keeps it very minimalistic, and the notifications in the top right corner of your game are always there to kind of provide you with information on what's happening, what's important to do next, and what to keep an eye on. Well, and this also pretty much concludes today's video. Like I said, this wasn't going to be any kind of deep analysis. It's just a tastemaker, so to say, on what's to come towards this game. I'm really excited for it, and like I said, I'm going to do a Let's Play on it. The first episode going live in the next time. I'm gonna spend some time at home with my family, so I don't have my recording equipment there. Once the series goes live, it's gonna be regularly, and well, how it's going to play out, I'll probably say in the first video. So for now, I take name suggestions or any kind of wishes for the colonists. So if you want yourself in the video, just put it in the comments. Also make sure to, well, leave feedback on the style of the videos, because I'm still kind of struggling to find a good style to do. and I don't know, I kind of like the planned ones that I did, like the one I did last week on Rim Capsule, but I also like these more or less spontaneous ones. So yeah, you let me know, you two people who watch this, probably. And the Let's Plays are probably gonna be with Facecam. Not sure about that yet, but definitely a possibility. And yeah, prepare for more videos to come in the near future. It's gonna be good as soon as I'm back here where I'm currently. And so yeah, thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe if you want to follow us down the road of YouTube adventures. And I'll see you in the next video. For today's video, this was Flips for Ian Gaming signing off.